Good afternoon, and thank you once again for reading my newsletter and for opening it and finding out what's going on in our county and in District 4. And I want to welcome for my third ray of light as part of my newsletter. I wanted to focus on people that live in Forsyth County and that work to try to make this county better. And I think so many times our news is so negative, and all we do is focus on what we hate or what we want to, all the many negative remarks and we see on social media. And lots of times we overlook the people that are really trying to make a difference and to be a positive ray of light in our community, in our county. And today we have a married couple, Carol and Joe LaBranche, and both of them work together and separately. Before we get into what y'all do, Carol and Joe, just give a little background about who you are and how long you've lived in the county, and just talk a little bit about your history, just for just a couple of minutes.
Okay, so we've lived in Forsyth County for 26 years, since the Olympics came in 1996. And when we were here, well, before Joe retired, he was in the banking and credit card fraud prevention industry. And of course, he served in the military as a Marine in the Vietnam War. And after retiring, he spent some time with me selling real estate. And then he started AboutFace USA, and it became a nonprofit in 2013. And then my background is a little bit in the mortgage lending and real estate sales, residential sales, and investment advising. We've lived in 5 different states over the years, and we've raised 2 children and now have 3 adult grandchildren. And we'll celebrate our 48th anniversary in January. So,
well, congratulations. And Carol, were you in the military as well?
I was not, no.
Okay.
I met Joe about 7 or 8 years after he was out.
Okay. All right. So tell folks how we got to know each other.
You want to tell them?
Well, I think it was through one of the mental health and mental wellness groups over at United Way. I think, but I think I spoke to you a couple other times before that. But really got to know you through the mental health program over at United Way.
And tell me how you both work in mental health and mental wellness. I know you work together on some things, and then you work separately as well.
Well, it's, of course, AboutFace, we're dedicated to helping veterans with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury, or if they're down on their luck financially. And I'm a Vietnam veteran. When I came back from Vietnam, I went off to college and fell upon some hard times, some dark days. And finally, in 2009, I asked the Lord to, if He'd help me get through my crisis, and I promised that if He got me through it, I would do everything I can to prevent any other veteran from going through what I went through. So that's why we started AboutFace.
And Carol, can you share a little bit about what you work in with mental health as well?
Sure. So I feel like we are peer, we do peer counseling and just peer support. We're not licensed. We just have lived experience. And I work with AboutFace USA. I also work with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I teach classes on for veteran family members, and then I also teach classes for just any family member of someone with a mental illness. And then I also facilitate support groups for family members, and that's a real important issue for me as well. So we've been involved with mental health for a long time. I've actually been involved with the VA, with their Mental Health Advocacy Council and the Directors Veteran Improvement Board. So I've been involved with them for a good 10 years.
What we try and do a little bit is I basically work with the veterans and have support groups for veterans. And it's non-structured. Veterans can talk about whatever they want to. And no, we don't talk about the war. We talk about the psychological after effects that we're experiencing from combat. And I can work with veterans all day, but if the family members aren't educated on why the veteran's acting like he's acting, it's not going to do us any good. So that's why Carol works with the family members and teaches them why the veteran's acting like he's acting. And she teaches them coping skills and how to notice a post-traumatic stress coming on.
That's great. And that's a holistic approach. Lots of times people don't look at mental health as, the family members need to understand. And that's why the divorce rate's so high. And I mean, why lots of times domestic violence and different things occur. And we all know that the things, people will mask things with drugs or with alcohol and not getting to the root of what's really going on inside of them.
Right.
And I really believe that what you're doing is helping so much, because until we start talking with each other about mental wellness or mental illness, we can't find the solutions to the problems if we don't talk about them. And the stigma is real, it's there, and we'd like to fight it. We'd like to prevent that.
I thank you so much. And I totally agree. I think that lots of times we put mental health, we want it to look a certain way and we want it to feel a certain way or to fit in a certain category, and lots of times we miss, just like before we got our public safety people involved in mental health and let them know it's okay. You have post-traumatic stress, you see horrific things, you deal with those, and it doesn't make you less of a person, less of a man, to have these kind of feelings and to be able to talk about that and have them stand up and talk about it. I'm just so encouraged when I saw some of our firefighters the other day, and the guy, Keith, that had been in charge of it, I said, I haven't been seeing you at our mental health meetings. Have y'all let that sort of slide? He said, no, not at all. Not at all. He said, I've got another person now is in charge of it, and he has been coming. And I think it's just wonderful that people can see that it doesn't matter if you're young, it doesn't matter if you're old, it doesn't matter, if you're rich or you're poor, or if you've been to war, or if you just live in a war personally, that people deal and have different ways, and there's different ways of coping, and dealing with that, instead of just you're just doomed.
Right.
And I think the two of you do so much of that to help other people. And that's the reason I wanted y'all on here today, because I think you help so many that others maybe forget about. And, I know I've heard Joe say, you come home from the war and while you're gone, everybody's celebrating you. And then you come home and it's sort of like you're forgotten about. And I think that y'all really work hard to make sure that our veterans are not forgotten about.
I don't think it's so much that the veteran is forgotten about as much as the war is forgotten about. You got people doing 3, 4, 5 tours, and people back here are still going out to the mall, partying, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you come back and you see that, you think these people are oblivious to what's actually happening in the world. So it's, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. It's just a way of life.
Yeah, and we do we prepare for the battle ahead, but we don't do as good a job maybe as a country to help reconnect people when they get out. You
Well,
know,
the problem is that the government spends a lot of money training us for combat. They spend zero on the psychological after effects in preparing us to come back into society. And unfortunately, a lot of the veterans think it's a weakness if you ask for help. And
We're here to tell them,
I
ask for help. Yeah.
I didn't reach out for help until 2009. I left Vietnam in 1967. So the support groups, I feel, I have individuals in there from World War II all the way up to Iraq, Afghanistan. And when a younger veteran expresses a feeling or tells us what he's dealing with, and I'll ask, well, who can relate to Jim over here? And when all the hands go up, the young veterans, their mouth practically drop open. He says, well, I thought I was the only one. And that's the other thing that benefits the younger veteran is that the older veterans will share how they got through that episode. So,
how many, Joe, how many veterans take their life a day?
well, they say 22, but that's understated because only 21 states report their veteran suicide. California and Texas, the two largest populated veteran states, don't report. So, you know, and you know, I think sometimes the numbers are skewed on purpose to make it look like things are getting better. But you know, we can't depend on the VA alone. This has to be a social or a community project where the community gets involved. You can't depend on the DOD and the Veterans Administration to address all these concerns.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to add about the suicides is because people don't talk about mental wellness or mental health, you know, people would rather die than admit that they have a mental illness. I'm not saying that that's always the case. I'm just saying it's a shame. It's a real shame because there is help. It's not the end of the world. We're just living examples of how life goes on regardless of your disability, and you can function in life and have a good life still. But people don't want to even talk about it.
Well, and it's the same thing as I've noticed with my own mother that is going through some type of dementia right now. And she tried to hide it. You know, we all as kids been able to go back and talk about it. And we really believe that she saw it coming on for, you know, at least a couple of years, and much more so after the pandemic. The pandemic has just sent everything mental health wise. Just, I think that everybody wanted to focus on just the virus, and nobody was really looking at what is this doing to the mental health of people, you know,
Right.
when they are isolated, when they're alone, when they're scared, you know, and all these thoughts, it's like just pressing on them. And I think that we're going to, for years, we're going to see a spike in dementia. We're going to see a spike in suicide and other depression, anxiety, and all these other issues that we were so worried about the virus that we didn't understand what we were doing to people's mental health. Are y'all seeing any uptick in your organization or the calls you take since the pandemic?
Well, I can say for NAMI, yes, definitely. You know, we don't normally, I don't know that we've seen an increase at AboutFace necessarily, but yeah, the mental health, the COVID just really did a number on a lot of people, and the results, like you said, it's going to happen for over the next several years. That's why we need to get more people into the mental health industry and the different jobs that are available. We're going to need a whole lot more therapists and counselors, and I'm really all for that.
There's such a shortage with that.
Yeah.
Joe, can you tell a little bit about the programs that you offer in AboutFace to help
Well, we
veterans cope?
offer support programs, but we're in the process of creating a, for lack of better terms, an indoor garden, community garden. It's going to be three different sections where we grow microgreens, and we use aeroponic tower gardens, and then we have a social area. And our focus is going to be, there's such a big divide between the civilian community and the military community. And it's because we don't communicate. We want to use this Project Grow as a way of bringing people together, not just adults, but in Forsyth County, we have over 800 high school students that are homeless. Well, what are they eating? So why don't we bring them in, let them work with veterans, teach them how to grow fruits and vegetables. At least they'll have a nutritional base to help them out, rather than eating junk food or drinking all the sugar. But it's a way of bringing the community together where veterans can understand the civilians, and the civilians can understand why veterans are like they are. And it be an opportunity where it's a collaborative, where we'd have the commissioners involved, the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, different businesses, where the students and the veterans come in, and you have people there, entrepreneurs, that can share their education on being an entrepreneur. So it's more than just gardening.
Right.
It's a good source of communication.
And you also do your backpack drive, right?
Right. I was going to say, every year for the last 5 years, we've done an annual backpack drive where we fill backpacks with new socks, underwear, t-shirts, gloves, hats, scarves, sleeping bag, little emergency sleeping bags for homeless veterans. And we collect all during the fall season, and then pack the backpacks up in December and get them delivered probably the next day or the next couple of days.
The one thing that the veterans do, like, they love the backpacks, but Carol makes mats out of plastic grocery bags. It takes over 700 bags to make a mat, but the veterans love them. When I go downtown and I open my van and they see those mats, they come running, because those mats act as a barrier for them. When they put that mat down the ground, the cold doesn't come through that, especially with the thermo sleeping bags that we give them. So, it's not just the backpacks, it's the mats, the plastic mats.
And I'm sure it's the love that comes across from you guys too. I mean, everybody likes to feel like somebody cares.
Right.
Cindy, I tell you, you go down there and you these poor people. I mean, we can't guarantee that they're all veterans, but they're homeless, and they ask you, they start crying and ask you, why are you doing this for me? Well, we're doing it because you deserved it. You earned it. You went off and sacrificed. You're fortunate you came back, but you're still living with scars that people can't see. The moral and wounds of the soul. And these people, they just
It means a lot
open
to
up
me.
emotionally.
Mhm.
I know it does. So as we're winding down, I wanted to ask y'all if there was something like your event you've got coming up, if you'd like to tell about that, and also tell how people can get involved.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you about the event. We have a poker tournament coming November 12th at 7 o'clock over at the Stars and Strikes bowling alley. And it's a fundraiser. So we are asking for a $50 donation to get into the tournament. If you sign up early, which you can do on our Facebook page, AboutFace USA, you can just register and you'll get some extra chips for doing that.
Yeah, 1,000 extra chips plus there's $2,000 in prize money, 1,100 for first place, 600 for second, 300 for third place. And because they're all donations, and it's all legal.
Right.
And how can people get involved in AboutFace or NAMI?
Okay, so our biggest challenge, I think our biggest challenge right now is we're looking for people that can commit to getting involved and being leaders with us as the organization grows, because we do have some potential federal funding coming up, and we'll need a lot of help with that. And then also anybody that could provide maybe a facility for us to do the Tower Garden project. That would be great. Volunteering for the backpack drive. We'll be packing those backpacks. I don't have a date yet for that, but it'll be sometime mid-December at the VFW, and we'll just post that on our Facebook page. That's a great way to donate. And if people have time on their hands, I can teach them how to do the grocery bag mats.
Well, we're also having a shoe drive where we collect shoes, and the shoes end up going over to third world countries for the people that don't have shoes. So it's another project, and if the shoes don't have any holes in them, they'll accept them.
Right.
Well, that's wonderful. I think that both of you do such an incredible job in helping other people. And I thank you so much today. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I really want to get the community involved. And by the community, I mean not only the citizens, but like I said earlier, the Board of Commissioners, the groups here in Forsyth County, like the Rotary and the Chamber and some of the others, some of the big businesses, and show people it's not just veterans, it's veterans. We want to give back to the community. Everybody talks about giving to the veteran. Well, the veterans, we appreciate that. But in order for us to feel like we're a member of society, we have to be of some value to the citizens of Forsyth County. And that's why this project is not going to be an AboutFace project. It's going to be a collaborative between different veterans organizations, civic organizations, citizens, high schools, and the businesses. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, Carol, do you have anything to add?
I did, but it.
Well,
I think I was going to say that the Tower Gardens, we're kind of talking to some of the schools in the Forsyth County, and you might start seeing some Tower Gardens. I know we have them already placed in, like, Cumming Elementary School has 3. So they're useful to everybody, and people can get them through us if they're interested, and just put them on their back porch.
The thing is, Cindy, the 3 that they have at Cumming Elementary. Those were donated. And through a collaborative effort with AboutFace, the VFW, the Vietnam Veterans of America, and American Legion. So, and I think right now, I think there's 18 or 19 schools in Forsyth County that have those tower gardens. But, you know, our goal is not just veterans, our goal is to help Forsyth County, the community.
So I did think of what I was going to say, and that is that most veterans are just regular people like you and me. And, you know, AboutFace is here specifically to help those that have certain specific needs, but by including other veterans and the community, it works so much better. Relationships are so important and get lost with post-traumatic stress and other types of mental health issues.
The, you know, AboutFace works with different organizations, and we do provide financial assistance to veterans and their family members, as well as their caregivers, emotional support, spiritual backing. Even sometimes we go out and do some physical work where we might mow a lawn or do some work inside, painting or whatever for individuals. So, you know, if we can get that word out there and have people reach out to us, that'd be fantastic. And
Well,
we appreciate the work you do for us.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate y'all. And I appreciate, you know, our veterans, and with Veterans Day and all, you know, so much of, I mean, I really think every day we should remember those that have sacrificed and given, and look for ways we can collaborate and work together. And, you know, any way we can help people, it helps our community at large. So I just want to thank both of you for all that you do for the community. And thank you for being on with me today as part of this Rays of Light. Thank you both so much.
We appreciate it.
We love living here in Forsyth County, by the way. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you so much.